It's time for another episode of the Joshcast. I'm afraid of everything. I'm afraid of everything. Oh, look, there's an Audi. It's a really expensive luxury car. It reminds me that my health insurance is going up and then they're going to cancel it soon. Fear. Joshcast. So I noticed there was a thread on Tinder. Not Tinder. I meant to say Twitter. Freudian slip? I should think so. Dr. Sigmund Freud, I didn't know that you were here. Yes, indeed. I am Dr. Sigmund Freud. Shouldn't you have an accent? Yes, I should. But it's not an accent that you can do at all. Yeah, but... has that stopped me before? All right, that's an excellent point. Yes, I think it is a German accent. God. All right. Well, Dr. Freud, what do you think was going on in my mind when I had the Freudian slip? I think that you are trying to murder your father and seduce your mother. I see you spent some time in France, Dr. Freud. It is classic case of Tinder transference. Oh, you're getting more into France. You got it. Get back to, I think it's Austrian. Guy, get to the chopper. No, now you're just quoting Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what? Just go back to not doing an accent. That's fine, Dr. Freud. Thank you. Now we can get down to it. You said Tinder, but you meant to say Twitter. A lot of people would assume that I, Dr. Sigmund Freud, from Austria or Germany, would presume that this was some kind of deep-seated sexual desire that was attempting to escape the bounds of the unconscious. Actually, that sounds a bit more Jungian. Shut up! I'm in the middle of a speech. Sorry, Dr. Freud. I think, however, it's because you're not only tired, you're also getting older. And inching closer and closer towards death. And with every passing moment, your body will fail you more and more. Until at the end, you're a barely recognizable husk. A shadow of your former self. Grasping for a last breath. So you're saying you think it was just a memory glitch and nothing more. That's right. Just the beginning of the end. The long, sour goodbye. Well, thank you for your assessment on that, Dr. Freud. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sigmund Freud. So anyway, we're gonna... You can stop clapping now. You can turn off the clapping track, please. Can somebody turn off the clapping track, please? I will turn off the clapping track. I just don't get it. It's not that hard. It's just the button on the left. Guys, come on. Now I feel guilty for yelling at my crew. There is no crew, but yet I still feel guilty. That's how much I commit to the character on this podcast, really. It's a mind trip, if you will. It takes me right through Tinder. My unconscious. I did it again. Callback. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I saw a thread on Twitter. And the thread was a bunch of podcasters talking about how much work it takes to make a successful podcast. And that one podcaster said from one 15-minute episode, it takes 3 pre-interviews, 4 interviews, recording, editing, writing, not necessarily in that order. So hours and hours, days perhaps. And I'm sitting there reading that thinking, oh, I'm not doing any of that. Man, I just kind of wing it. Ooh. There's other than talking about that, there's no plan for what's going to happen right now. This is, and it was a way for me to, yet another way for me to beat myself up and tell myself that I'm not good enough. But here's the question. Should I be preparing more on this podcast? What do you think, Dr. Anderson? Dr. Anderson, by the way, is an expert on podcasts, a podcast historian, a podstorian is what people call him. Thank you very much for being here, Dr. Anderson. Well, the pleasure is mine. You kind of have a Dr. Evil thing going. Yes, people have told me that. I don't understand why. I had dentures recently, and so that's why there's a bit of a shush sound. Ah. I didn't mean to point that out or anything. That's fine. That's fine. Let's just stick to the matter at hand. I think we all know that podcasting really began in the late 1850s. I think that's not true. Oh, it absolutely is true. Ben Franklin was the one who started it. I think Ben Franklin was dead by the 1850s. That's a common mistake. You see, Ben Franklin had discovered the secret of immortality nearly a century earlier, and as a result was living in seclusion, subtly doing things to guide the United States out of chaos. And in so doing, he did invent the podcast, but he realized that the podcast would be too dangerous to introduce during that time, so he held on to his invention and to the concept of the podcast until the early 21st century. I'm beginning to think you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to cut this short. A round of applause for Dr. Anderson. I said a round of applause for Dr. Anderson. I actually can't do applause because I'm in the middle of driving right now and both my hands need to be on the wheel. That's important. Important safety tip from the Joshcast. Watch I get killed by a bus. Knock on wood, poo. Oh, well, I had time to knock on wood, but I don't have time to clap for the sake of the podcast. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. This one's going to be a loopy one. This one's going to be a loopy one. It's different than the other sharks. This shark that we're hunting. The first one that killed people at Amity Island. Looks like someone didn't do their tongue twisters. Listen! I hunt sharks, all right? I don't make speeches. The first shark that hunted the people at Amity Island. That was a shark I could understand. Same with the second and the third, and even the fourth. There was reason and logic behind what they were doing. But this shark is different. This shark, apparently, was made smarter by genetics and by science. And has done something so unexpected, no one is quite sure what to do. You see, the shark has learned our language and has suddenly become interested in improv comedy. You're not serious. I am serious. That's where you should say, and don't call me Shirley. It'd be a great airplane callback. I'm in the middle of saying something serious here. And you should be proud of me that I didn't step over any words. I didn't do any tongue twisters before this conversation I was going to have with you. No, you're doing fine, so please continue. The shark wants to do improv comedy. Yes. It's going to be a lot harder to hunt this shark. We might have to do improv with him. I would rather not do that. I'd rather just kill him, and if we take a few improv actors with us, collateral damage. It's not going to be that simple. He'll see that coming. You're going to have to follow my lead. We're about to do improv comedy with the shark. Oh, God. I don't want to do this. Get your yes and face on. We're going in. Ah, I see it's a lovely day for a picnic. The shark is just kind of thrashing on stage. Yes. And you seem to really be enjoying the sunbathing out here during this picnic. Thump, 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 thump. I think it's suffocating. Thump, 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 thump. And maybe you'd like for me to spray some water on your gills so that you would enjoy this picnic even more. Thump, 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 thump. Thump, 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 thump. I don't think it's helping. And maybe we should call an ambulance. Excellent idea. Woo, 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 woo. I'm the ambulance driver. What seems to be the trouble? I think this shark is slowly suffocating because it's on a picnic, but sharks really should be underwater. I see the problem. We're going to have to take him into the hospital. Right. But I'm wondering if, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, now we should kill him? Yes! And that's what we're going to do! Good job. We did it. Is this still the scene, or are we done? No, we're done. The sharks now. We don't need to keep on with stupid improv. Right. I fail to see... First of all, the shark seemed to already be dying. Oh! You can't be so sure. The shark had high marks in the improv class. He skipped right to the Sunday company at Groundlings. He could have just been committing to it. Right. Well, now that this is done, let's, well, we can't just go away now. The audience is still here. We have to keep up with the improv. Oh, for God's sake. So that happened. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Stress. Inevitably, I've come to the conclusion that I attract stressful situations in order to always be stressed. I will always find a way to be stressed out about something. And this is hard because I never get to give myself a break. I'm terrified that a vacation for me is a medically induced coma. That's not even true. Because when I went under for that procedure, the falling asleep part was nice, but then coming out of it was miserable. Coming out of it was miserable because part of my brain was still asleep, but the other part of my brain wanted to get to worrying. So it was like the engine couldn't turn over. So I was just kind of walking around going, I should be worried about this. And it felt very uncomfortable. Finally, when the fog cleared and I was able to worry again, I was like, now I'm back. I'm back in the pocket. I'm back in the pocket of worrying. Worrying for me is the normal. Other people try to relax. I try to always be worried. As soon as I stop worrying and I relax, then I got something to worry about. But it is a situation where I don't allow myself rest. I think the only way to do it is with distraction. So if that's, if I go see a movie and get frustrated at the movie or jealous at the actors in the movie, I basically relax. I don't relax. I just change what I'm worried about for the sake of variety. That's really more my speed. Getting close to my destination. And, at the end of the day, the worrying is stupid because I don't know if it makes a difference. Does it really help the situation I'm in to worry about it? It's almost like, especially if it's a situation where I think I might have made a mistake, it's like I have to punish myself, and if I don't punish myself, I feel like I'm getting away with something. And I know it's cliche for me to say this, but I feel like I've just described Judaism. But I want to go deeper than that. Yeah, I think it's deeper than Judaism. Though what is deeper than Judaism? I think it is something I do. I think I have to be, I think if I beat myself up, no one else will. So it's a defense mechanism. I think ultimately that's what beating myself up is. Somebody pulls a gun. I mean, it's like that scene in Blazing Saddles where everyone's pulling the gun on the sheriff and then he pulls a gun on himself. And everyone's like, what, wait, what? That's literally... I saw that and went, that's a good way to function in real life. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to punch you in the face. I got you beat. And it throws people. Well, I think we accomplished a lot in this podcast. Don't you agree, Dr. Freud? I do.